Hey guys, what's up? Alex Scott here with Consordini.com. Got another super cool gear review for you guys today. This little essential component of my studio that I use constantly is the Komplete Kontrol S61 first generation MIDI controller. This thing is absolutely amazing. If I'm honest, for a very long time I wanted a company to do something exactly like this, but I didn't know who to call or what forum to post on or something. And I feel like NI, years ago when they initially came out with this thing, they kind of reached into my brain for an idea and pulled it out, because what this represents is not really just a MIDI controller. It's a whole kind of way of thinking about physical control surfaces for digital instruments and plugins and all that kind of stuff. And they've just done such an awesome job. Now, I'm very aware that the Komplete Kontrol, this generation of it, has been out for a number of years now. They did just come out with their second generation Mark II Komplete Kontrol keyboards, which are a fair bit nicer than this one. They, they have embedded LED screens and all kinds of stuff, and they're just that much better. They've taken the progression of this idea to that next step. But that is not to say that the first generation ones are not spectacularly useful. So that's kind of why I wanted to do a video on this keyboard, even though there is a new one out. It's still, and especially now that you can get them used and stuff like that, it's such an amazing piece of kit that's going to take your productions to just a whole new level. So what is it, if you haven't already heard about this whole system? Basically, not only is it an amazingly high quality MIDI controller with everything that you would expect in terms of, nice, really clean feeling keys and action, aftertouch, all that kind of stuff. It also has these cool sliders over here for modulation and pitch. That has changed in the updated one, but I think that these are fine too. Octave, transpose controls, all that typical stuff. It also has these controls here in the middle, which are not really generic MIDI controls. They can be, but what they really are is mapped to the Komplete Kontrol software, which is a whole kind of in-DAW browser that holds a bunch of your synth plugins. Pretty much all the manufacturers are now getting together, and Komplete Kontrol, whether you use synth plugins from Arturia or anybody else for that matter, they'll show up alongside all your native instrument stuff, your Massive and Reactor and all that stuff. It all shows up in your Komplete Kontrol browser, and that whole browsing experience is controlled from right here on the keyboard itself, which is really quick, really easy. You have your all your controls for that here. Browse, pick which instance of the plugin you're using, all that kind of stuff. In addition, once you've actually opened a synth preset or a sound, you can control all kinds of different aspects, just like you would on screen. Whether if you're using a synthesizer, like filter cutoffs and oscillators, all that kind of stuff that you would normally control with these knobs is controlled here. And then also, if you're doing like piano sounds or something, you can control reverb and sustain and tone characteristics of the piano modeling and all that kind of stuff. It's all controlled from right here, which is incredibly convenient. It's way faster than trying to go over to the plugin with your mouse and your keyboard and click through all these menus and stuff like that. It's all just right here at your fingertips. So what we're going to go ahead and do is move the camera over a little bit, and we are going to listen to some sounds from the Native Instruments library that comes bundled with this keyboard. And I'm going to go over the features one by one a little bit more in depth. So let's go ahead and take a look. Okay guys, so here we have our Komplete Kontrol keyboard. Now, when you first connect it to your computer and you don't have an instance of the Komplete Kontrol plugin, which you can see here on screen in my little plugin bin, if you don't have that already up and running, it's going to go into MIDI controller mode, and this is going to allow you to control anything just like any other MIDI controller would. Everything from other plugins to nice hardware synthesizers like these guys up here. I have this connected to my whole synth rig, and it runs pretty much everything. But when we go over to our DAW and we load up an instance of the Komplete Kontrol software here, this is the first thing you're going to see, and this is going to switch to, say, press Browse. Now this is the base Komplete Kontrol plugin. It does run as a standalone piece of software as well if you want, but we're going to go ahead and press Browse right here on the S61, and it's going to open up. These are all of our various sample libraries, okay? Not just ones from Native Instruments. Like I said earlier, a lot of different manufacturers are now working with Native Instruments on getting their plugins implemented into this whole system. So we have Heartbeat from Softtube, we have Spark from Arturia, West Africa is a Native Instruments thing, and then I've got a lot of stuff from the East-West Composer Cloud, excuse me, which is all this, the harps and percussion and stuff. This is what I use to score films and television commercials and all that kind of stuff. So it's very, very easy to scroll through here. Let's just pick one, the Gentleman. This is a Native Instruments piano that I love. This is a preset that I love, Levitating Upright. So all that's selected and done right here from the controller. Sounds great, and keyboard feels great, but just like we were able to navigate through all of our presets here, we can now control various parameters within the plugin from the keyboard. So here we see dynamic anatomy, or dynamic range here on screen. As I move this knob on the controller, it's interacting directly with the plugin to make that change. So you can do, you know, a really hard colored piano all the way to soft. But again, that's a knob I'm tweaking in real space. So it's way easier to just dial in a sound that you really, really, really like. Up, that's a little too hard. Split the difference. There we go. Very nice, right? Now, a couple other cool features on here. You do have scale, which actually... Now, if you're a piano player, you'll know that doesn't look or sound quite right. That's because it's forcing the keyboard to only operate in the key of C. So if you're not an experienced keyboard player or whatever, you can actually choose from a variety of scales, you know, C, blah, 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 modes. We have some options there. We could do major pentatonic. And then it doesn't matter what key you hit, it's always going to be in C major pentatonic. So that's kind of fun. Go back to chromatic. And then we also have a built-in arpeggiator. Which works exactly as you would expect an arpeggiator to work. You can edit all those parameters from here. And you can also use that arpeggiator on your outboard synth. So when I have it hooked up to my Arp Odyssey here just above it, I can actually use the arpeggiator built into this. And it, you know, it has all kinds of sync options and stuff. And that will send that MIDI signal straight out to your Odyssey. So that's another really, really great feature, especially when you're working with things beyond just the Komplete Kontrol universe. But the plugin is super, super easy to use. Again, since it can hold so many other plugins, or kind of organize so many other plugins here, you know, all this stuff from East-West and everything else that I have, the fact that I can get to it all in this browser is just fabulous and makes my workflow super, super fast. Okay guys, so there you go. Native Instruments Komplete Kontrol S61 first generation. Love this thing, use it every day. I know I say that about a lot of the gear that I review, but you know, I only review stuff that I think is really great quality and that I use constantly and can really stand behind, and think that, you know, you guys should definitely check out and consider adding to your own setups. This thing, it's just so intuitive. It takes, you know, this whole control of virtual elements thing to a whole new level, and I absolutely love it. All of the built-in features in terms of, you know, editing all your synth parameters and all that stuff, it's really intuitive, it's really quick, and it just gives me a much, you know, it makes me feel like I'm using one of these, like a classic analog synthesizer. Obviously these have faders and switches and stuff, and these are just kind of encoder knobs, but still, it's better than clicking and dragging with a mouse. It's way easier, way faster, and way more creatively inspiring. No matter what style of music you produce, whether it's EDM or, you know, rap, hip-hop, trap, anything like that, anywhere you're doing a lot of synth stuff, but also for sound designers, for guys who do, you know, music or scoring for video games or film or TV or commercials, anything like that, well, you know, a lot of the work that I do. It's just great because, you know, especially if you're doing something sound designing and you really want to go in and find a way to tweak, you know, some really particular aspect of a sound, instead of rooting around in menus on your screen for half an hour trying to find it, you just bank through right here and boom, there you go. There's all the controls you're going to need for that particular synth or plugin or whatever it is that you're using. So it's just an incredibly fast and intuitive solution. So what do you guys think of the Komplete Kontrol series of controllers? Do you love them? Do you hate them? Have you used one? Do you want to own one? We would love to hear from you guys down in the comments. Again, my name is Alex Scott with Consordini.com. Thank you guys so much, as always, for watching, and we will see you in the next video.